All right, kind of a new thing that we are trying here. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. Maybe even the title will change, just kind of this working title for the time. Keaton's Indie Corner. The idea of this is every now and again, I will go see a movie that isn't super... It's not like a big franchise movie or anything like that. It's more often than not a recommendation from Film Threat on YouTube. That is most likely the case. And it's just like these smaller movies, maybe not indie by definition, but that don't get a whole lot of reviews, not a lot of press, and that's all right. I still like them. More often than not, they're good too, and I want to talk about them. I don't talk about them all that often because, like I said, they're not super big. And we'll see. This might be the first and last episode. I don't know. But we'll try it out anyways and just see how this goes. So I have two this week because I saw two of them over the past week or so. Both fairly new as well. And the first one is Small Things Like These. Now, this is an Irish film. It's actually the first movie that Cillian Murphy is in since Oppenheimer. And it's essentially just a quick synopsis. It takes place in the 80s. And guy has Cillian Murphy, him and his family. He's got a normal blue-collar job, and he realizes that the local, I believe, it's called a convent. It didn't specify which. I'm not all that educated on the different strains of Christianity. Anyways, it's the local Christian girls' school. It's the convent. And he happens to, while he's at work, realize and happens to see some mistreatment, so to speak, of the nuns to the girls. Now, the movie, it's not super long. It's under 2 hours. And it's just kind of exploring what that social scenario is like of, hey, you're the only person who saw this. Maybe other people know about it, but also, like, it's a small town, it's a small community. There's, like, actually pressure to not say anything. If you do, it'll cause a ruckus. There could be other issues. And also, Cillian Murphy's character has daughters that are soon going to be attending said school. And it's a really beautiful movie. It's, like, cloudy and rainy the whole time. And it has a very, even though it's, like, sad, it is ultimately a heartwarming movie. It's weird to review because it's like, do I say I like it? I mean, yeah, it is objectively a really good movie, but it's just weird because it's sad. Liking a sad movie sounds weird, but hey, yeah, would I recommend it? I think so. I'd give it like a 4 stars. It's brilliantly acted, which it's Cillian Murphy. That's something we've come to expect. And he definitely capitalizes on that. Emily Watson is in this too, and she actually plays... I think she's the head nun of the convent. And wow. Like, it's... I don't know if I'd say it's the villain, but kind of. But anyways, yeah, super heavy movie. And you need those. I think that's all right. I think you need those. And overall, really, really good. And I look forward to... People need to keep making these. Big actors, big names, and low budget, but a good, heavy story that definitely explores a real thing. So yeah, big recommend from me. And this Keaton's Indie Corner, these won't be super long. I don't have the fellas on these episodes. I mean, maybe I will one day, I don't know. But I do have a second movie this time, and we'll go over that. Now, this movie is called A Real Pain. It is written and directed by one of my top 10 favorite actors, just to be honest, Jesse Eisenberg. And it's essentially these two cousins. They're not super close. They see each other on and off, you know. And their grandmother died, They're Jewish, both from New York. And their grandma, who just passed away, is from Poland, and she left them some money so that they can use that to go on a trip together to see where she grew up. So they schedule it, and it's a full-on tour. They got a tour group, and it's this Holocaust tour. Now, and I mean this in the best way possible, usually comparisons are in a negative connotation. I'm not doing that here. This movie, throughout and in premise, is planes, trains, and automobiles. Kieran Culkin, career performance, by the way. He is definitely the John Candy character, where Jesse Eisenberg is the Steve Martin character. It was so close in premise and story that I haven't seen a lot of interviews on this movie. I don't know if it was explicitly inspired by Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I'd be interested to find that out. I want to kind of also relate it to the movie Palm Springs with Andy Samberg. It's a different take that is unique in its own way, but still similar in premise to the Bill Murray movie Groundhog Day. It is the exact same premise, but new. There's new, whether it's the turns that are new or just the setup is different, and the setting and the intricate details are different. That is like this. Now, with that said, that dynamic in the movie of the two is very, very well written and very well done. And especially these writer-director movies that are written and directed by actors, for me, it's like, all right, if it's not Mel Gibson or Ben Affleck, I tend to go into them cautiously. But bravo to Jesse Eisenberg. This was really, really good. Even though, like I said, I meant that comparison to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in the best way possible. It was a very moving movie in that Kieran Culkin's character, who is the real pain in A Real Pain, he's kind of the more charismatic one, but also is deeply flawed, while Jesse Eisenberg is kind of the Steve Martin, the level-headed one who's trying to also kind of keep his cousin in check, because they're with a tour group. So you can see that secondhand embarrassment, he apologizing for him and stuff. But you also, throughout the movie, get kind of insights into their family past. And it's very, here and there, because what I could pull from it is Jesse Eisenberg was definitely trying to, make you kind of infer things, guess things even. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I was not expecting it to be just like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in the same way that Palm Springs was, because Palm Springs was also a surprise to me. But yeah, really, really good. I'm hearing people throw Kieran Culkin in the hat for Oscar. I mean, I don't know. I don't follow the Oscars that much, but I think, if anyone is worthy of getting one, he definitely at least should be nominated, I think. Really, really good. I think it might be safe to say he probably ended up the better actor than his brother, but I don't know. Anyways, another thing I wanted to point is a lot of people, you're going to hear a lot of buzz about Kieran Culkin, which is well-deserved. However, Jesse Eisenberg absolutely killed it as well. Wrote, direct, and being one of the co-leads. His performance was really good too. And I have an interesting tidbit I wanted to talk about on Jesse Eisenberg, because he is such an interesting phenomenon to me, and I'm saying that as he is one of my favorite actors of all time. And normally you hear the term typecast, right? And it is, for good reason, mostly a negative connotation. You look at The Rock, Jack Black, Jason Statham, post-2003 Tom Cruise. Typecast meaning either when they get put into a role, they are just told to play themselves, or they one time played a character that was really popular, and so every single movie after that, they were just playing that same character from whatever one was popular, well, like the case with Tom Cruise. After Last Samurai, they were just like, no more actual acting for you. You're Ethan Hunt and everything, right? Or The Rock, you're just playing The Rock. Jack Black, you're just Jack Black, etc. And yeah, I personally don't super like that. I think it's sad. I think usually these guys, with the exception of The Rock, are really talented actors, and they just fall into that thing where they get put in these, like Liam Neeson, brilliant actor, right? Schindler's List, Batman Begins, just to name a couple. And after Taken, it's just this endless loop of like, okay, you're just the guy from Taken in these like action movies, right? Jesse Eisenberg, to bring it back, the reason this is such an interesting phenomenon to me is because you look at his whole career and you realize, oh my gosh, Jesse Eisenberg is literally just Jesse Eisenberg in every single movie he's in. But it's not negative. Like, I don't look at it that way for some reason. Because I don't know if maybe he's just more compelling in his version of being typecast. And I knew A Real Pain was written and directed by him, so one of the things I was looking into was like, oh, is he gonna just still, like, play himself? Like, he's writing and directing this. And yeah, I'll be honest, he did. He's just Jesse Eisenberg. But that is, for some reason, so good all the time. Whether it's Now You Can See Me, Zombieland, LA Confidential, 30 Minutes or Less, like, even though it's just Jesse Eisenberg, I love it. I don't know what it is. It's always, like, really good at playing the concerned guy, or on the flip side of, like, Social Network, overly confident and smug, kind of like with when he played Lex Luthor. So Lex Luthor and Social Network. But it's all Jesse Eisenberg. You don't really see, quote-unquote, like, character acting from him. And I don't know. I don't know why I had this, like, tidbit thought, but for some reason, I think it's more acceptable. He's, like, the exception to the typecast scenario, which is weird. But yeah, A Real Pain, highly, highly recommend. Especially if you've seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles before, or even if you haven't. I think you might be more shook by the whole thing if you haven't seen it. Haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But yeah, I highly recommend. A similar score to Small Things Like These. So throughout the year, and I have a whole backlog of other years of these smaller movies that I could get to and will plan to go to more in the future. Like Saturday Night is another one this year. These, a lot of the time, are really good. Even though they're not these massive action set pieces or CGI-riddled movies, I'm having a good time with these for the most part. They're really good stories. I am very pleasantly surprised by both Small Things Like These and A Real Pain. High recommend for me. And we will see if this is the first and last episode of Keaton's Indie Corner. But yeah, I hope this was good. And hopefully there's another episode. So go check out those movies.